Dietrich's hands, which were covered in blue veins, trembled as he opened the small package sloppily. Inside the package there was something unexpected. It's a video display stone. The accompanying guard muttered with a surprised expression. But why did he suddenly decide to send you this offering stone? It was a stone that could display videos. However, since the raw material used in it, which is Maang stone, is very expensive, even nobles do not usually use it. What could be inside this stone that Fenric had the temerity to send it to me? Dietrich gripped the circular stone with all his strength, then began to operate it without any hesitation. And suddenly, "Please hand the person over to me. I came to inquire about something urgent." The voice Dietrich heard was one he knew well. But the two people on screen had no reason to be together. Duke Fenric said that there is an urgent message from the royal palace. Is it because of the Grand Sorcerer? Did the Duke summon Fenric to the royal palace in order to speak with Lady Presepe? Evan laughed at the screen. Interesting story, really. It is also a type of conclusion based on facts. It was unbelievable. Do you know anything about the Western Forest? Ivan continued talking, and Dietrich listened quietly. Specifically, he was listening to all of Ivan's statements regarding the monsters that he was blabbing about in front of Presepe. I am aware that Duke Fenric has taken Lady Presepe under the pretext of protecting her. Then, Ivan appeared on the screen, advancing towards Presepe in a tone laced with treachery. But if it's about protection, I can also offer that. If the things Fenric does are not just protection, but other things as well, then I can handle it. I'm good at anything. Ivan's long fingers ran through Presepe's messy silver hair, in a sticky motion. Am I not better? There will be no disappointment. I promise. Ivan's scandalous words made Dietrich's eyes swell with anger. Your Majesty, even the accompanying guard looked stunned. He was not in good health and had just recovered from his illness. But can we let him get angry like this without us doing anything? But the guard soon realized that there was no other option. When faced with Dietrich's eyes seething with vengeance, he realized that he would probably draw his sword and kill Ivan in front of his eyes in an instant. Meanwhile, Ivan continued talking. Whoever enters the Forbidden Forest for whatever reason must have his name included in the records. Whether he was found unconscious or even dead. But in the records, we found the name of Mrs. Vanessa. Before she became one of the concubines. The corner of Dietrich's eyes twitched slightly. So this was the reason. That's why she asked me about her mother. She was trying to test me. Perhaps she suspected that she was the daughter of the monster, as Ivan said. Imagine Precipice's face as she asked me about that yesterday in the park. Dietrich pressed his lips tightly together. However, Dietrich did not know who Presepe's real father was. All he knew was that night he went to ask not to kill Presepe. He had overheard a conversation he wasn't supposed to hear. Dietrich grabbed the video stone tightly after he finished watching it, and then threw it with all his might. The stone shattered into sharp pieces that scattered on the ground. Dietrich looked at the pieces intensely. Then he grabbed a message that Fenric had sent with the video stone. If you've watched the video, you'll know that the royal palace is not a place to protect Ms. Dietrich quickly read the short letter, which was neatly written. Grand Wizard Evan is no different from Atari Hanan or Noah Deverne. Your Majesty must be aware of this, unequivocally. Ha! Only for this, can you safely protect Mrs.? That was the last thing in the letter. The paper in his hand was torn apart with an annoying sound. Dietrich held the letter with a firm grip, bowing his head and remaining still for a moment. Dietrich didn't know, but that day, Ivan returned from visiting Presepe to find himself attacked by Fenric in a way he didn't expect. Then he went straight to Dietrich. Your Majesty, do you know about the Book of Prophecies? Ivan began to tell a story that Dietrich had never heard before. It's an ancient, time-worn book in the wizard's tower. So? What does this have to do with me? Dietrich was lying in bed, frowning, listening to Ivan's words. Ivan explained briefly about the Book of Prophecies, and then began to say something that Dietrich had not expected at all. It appears that a woman was born on a night when the moon reached its peak. Her roots are forged, but she will suffer in the finest place in the empire. Dietrich paused for a moment as he read this part of the book. Without him, the woman will not be able to end her suffering, and without her, he will not find comfort. Who is this he in question? Ivan did not mention everything in the book, but rather selected what suited him to use. A while ago, Duke Fenric visited me. Ivan showed a wound on his neck as he spoke slyly. During the investigation, he seemed to get angry when he wanted to ask some questions to Mrs. He suddenly entered, armed with his sword, and I had to use magic to protect me. However, there was no effect. How could this be possible? Someone who has nothing to do with magic can stop an attack from the greatest magicians? Ivan's words sounded strange, but as if he knew Dietrich might wonder, he continued. Perhaps it was Duke Fenric who was hiding this. It mentioned in the book, this demon with whom Presepe was linked. Otherwise, how could he stop his magic? Could he be the one who killed Noah Deverne? Did he kill Atari too? Seeing that Noah Deverne was killed by a griffin monster increases suspicion. Of course, there are some points that do not agree with each other. Then he added, this is why I think it might be best to send Duke Fenric along with Siegfried and the knights to the Forbidden Forest. To the Forbidden Forest? Although the appearance of monsters has become much less, that place is still the stronghold of monsters and demons. So, you may not know, but monsters never attack each other, even if they are half-beasts. But what about Satan? Instead of attacking, he will protect them, especially when circumstances require the protection of Satan himself. Therefore, it will be necessary to accompany Siegfried and the knights to monitor the situation. Didn't they discover the truth? Was my conclusion correct or incorrect? Ivan smiled as he added. And when Duke Fenric leaves, Lady Presepe will return to the royal palace. The safest place in Atalaya. Yes, alongside your majesty. That was all that happened that day. Dietrich's features were wrinkled with anger as he thought about his conversation with Ivan. The content of Fenric's letter was plausible, and it was clear that the Duke had taken Presepe with him for her protection. But, Dietrich had a gut feeling. The untrustworthy person was not only Ivan the Great Mage, there were others as well. And maybe the motive for taking Fenric Presepe from the palace could have been more than just to protect her. The great wizard, it came out of Dietrich's barely closed lips, with a sound clouded with darkness. Bring Grand Mage Ivan. Immediately. It's midnight. The carriage carrying Presepe had driven all day, and when darkness fell, it finally stopped. Fenric stood in front of the small tent, and was about to enter, but he stopped to catch his breath and carefully adjust his clothes and hair. Then, carefully, he raised the curtain. Inside the tent, Presepe could be seen sleeping with an exhausted face. He could have left her sleeping in the carriage while they continued traveling, but he didn't want to do that. At first, this campaign was just a trick, and there was no need to put much effort into it. Moreover, Presepe was likely in a state of anxiety due to her fear that Dietrich would follow her, so he wanted to allow her the comfort of sleeping. This way, Fenric would rather see her asleep and relaxed, while he too could move freely. Don't let anyone in. Yes. Fenric gave the soldier his orders, then looked calmly at Presepe sleeping in the tent. After that, the curtain closed again, and he began his quiet steps. In the distance, there was the edge of the cliff. A place devoid of anyone.